Now, on to the next group. You all here might have heard the quote that says, protect our planet. It is the only one that we have got. And so this next group is very passionate about environmental conservation. All the way from Tattoo Boys, Plabric.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to present to you an innovation which would revolutionize not only Kenya, but Africa as a whole.
So here, Sharks, we need around 15 million Kenya shillings to venture into this business idea of ours. And so far, we have managed to raise about 500,000 Kenya shillings through donations, contributions from our own parents, and through the Nova network. And now we're coming to you, Sharks, to ask for 14.5 million Kenya shillings in return or in exchange for.
Ladies and gentlemen, I stared at death once. Yes, this was not the death of my parents. It wasn't the death of my friend. It was not the death of my pet, but rather it was the death of my own mother. Your mother, actually. No, even your mother, yes. Our mother planet Earth. Yes. That was the person, that was what was dying. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the year is 2019. The place is Dandora. We had gone there for our social project, yes? And immediately we alighted the bus. One thing we saw was shanties all around. Yes, we saw people living in horrendous living conditions, people living in slums, and they looked miserable. Even I would be miserable, in fact. And as if that was not enough, in the distance, we could see a mound, something gray at first. We got excited. We thought we were going hiking. I thought it was a mountain. But then the closer I got, I realized this was not a mountain, but rather this was a mound made from plastic trash. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was a mound made from plastic that's been toppling on top of each other years upon years upon years. Ladies and gentlemen, in Kenya alone, yearly we produce upwards of about 400,000 tons of plastic waste. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, 400,000 tons of plastic waste yearly. And only 8% of it is actually recycled. The other 92% is just left to pile up and take waste. That is why us, as Plabric, we decided, you know what? We think we can turn this waste into worth. That's why our slogan is from waste to worth.
Before I continue, I'd like to pose a question to the judges. You've been provided with plastic bottles of drinking water on your tables right now. But let me ask you, where do you think these bottles are going to end up once you're done with them? 9 out of 10 times, it won't even end up in the dustbin. It might end up with kids acting like it's a football playing around. Or what if it enters, makes it to the dustbin? Most of you might think this might be the end of its trip, but no. Once it makes it to a dump site, it's going to stay there for years and years and collect dust, knowing that plastic waste is not decomposable. But let me leave it at that and bring it to our mission at Plabric. Here, our mission at Plabric is to provide sustainable housing solutions whilst also providing eco-friendly building materials and overall to mitigate the overall environmental plastic waste crisis here in Kenya.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are able to turn the plastic waste from just waste, but to something worthwhile. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, to products which will build up a house. Here is all.
Now, as the judges have some time with the prototype, what would like to clearly define our problem statement? First, I'd like to ask a question. How many of us have been on or seen an elephant before? Just by a show of hands. Now, you would be surprised to know that the amount of plastic produced annually in Kenya is 370 tons, which is about 6,732 elephants worth of plastic. 6,732 elephants on our earth today. And most of the time we find that this plastic, as been said before, only 8% is recycled. What happens to the 92%? That is found in our streets of Nairobi, in the land dumps and in the slums where we expect people to live. We have a problem. We also see the problem of affordable housing, with about 2 million people living in informal settlements. Yes, 2 million people. Like you and like me. Some of them having houses that turn into showers when it rains, with walls made of materials from yesterday's news. and we expect these people to be treated as people, we have a problem: affordable housing. Now, we also have the problem with the extraction and the negative impact of extracting traditional materials. Look at the building we are in today. I see concrete, I see cement, and I see timber. While you might think things like sand do not impact the environment, but these lead to many mining sites that have harmful impacts to us. Things such as land degradation, deforestation, which has led to about 23,000 hectares, people, of our forests today in Kenya going to waste. We need to find a solution. And finally, unemployment. Today, 6 million people are unemployed in Kenya. That is about 11,000 Nova auditoriums filled to the brim, with people each sitting on a seat without a job. Now, we know we can't completely solve this problem, but we must do something, at least a small step, to mitigate this crisis. And that is what we strive to do in Plabric. Not just to give an innovative solution, but one that is sustainable and will lead to change for prosperous Kenya.
I know you've all been wondering, what eco-friendly products are we providing? First of all, we have building bricks. Building bricks are going to be used for permanent structures, such as houses, panels, which are going to be used for temporary structures, such as kiosks or shops, roofing tiles, and finally, custom orders. What we mean by custom orders is that us as Plabric, we give the customers priority and the leeway to make any necessary changes they need to our products or any special requests which they need. And how are they made? First of all, we collect the plastic. We sort them into two categories: high-density polythene and polypolythene. Then we shred the plastics and melt them while adding impurities such as nanoclay and sand to increase the melting point of the product. Finally, we mold them to our finished products, which will be ready for delivery and use.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to envision a future where instead of seeing plastic trash all around the roads, you are seeing communities, you are seeing gated estates, you are seeing places where people are living, and you remember that this was once trash, but now we have whole ecosystems. Here we can see that from our products, we can make kiosks. From our products, we can pave roads. From our products, we can build houses. We can build structures. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are redefining recycling, literally from waste to worth.
Now for our impact model. Socio-environnomic. Turn to a neighbor and tell them socio-environnomic. I know you're probably wondering, what does socio-environnomic mean? Well, in our business, we strive to tackle three key issues in society. First, social issues. We tackle them head on. One, by solving the unemployment crisis, however small. By investing in Plabric, you will be giving 100 people jobs in the first early stages. And as we scale up, this can expand to more and more people, ensuring that people have a source of income. And we also mitigate the affordable housing crisis. Why? Because by using Plabric products, we are cheaper than traditional materials. What means that we reduce the demand for traditional materials, and we make housing affordable for each and every person in our society today. And other than that, we also plan to start an initiative where we'll redirect some of our profits and work with key partners like NGOs and government agencies to subsidize the cost of affordable housing, making sure those who cannot afford it can finally have a place to sleep tonight. And now we move on to the environmental aspect. Guys, we're solving pollution. Plastic pollution. With Plabric, we estimate to use about 20 tons of plastic every month, which would, of course, increase as our industries continue to scale. This would be directly mitigating the problem of plastic pollution. In addition to that, by reducing the demand of traditional materials, what we do is we reduce the negative impact of their mining and their extraction and their use in our society today, with Plabric production reaching a significant reduction of 70% of carbon dioxide emissions. And finally, economic. By reducing the cost of construction, we make it more accessible. We make it more easier to build infrastructure, and we make it easier for entrepreneurs to be able to flourish in their businesses. With our circular economy model, what we do is we allow you to be able to move your structures while still being durable, to use them for a variety of reasons, which we'll go into later. But guys, that is the impact model, socio-environnomic.
But of course, as we know, as times are changing, technology is becoming more apparent to us. And one of the key models of integration we're going to use in this technology, first and foremost, we have 3D printing. Panel. If you can look at the prototype we gave, you can realize that at the bottom they have somewhat of a divot, yes? You see, by us using 3D printing, not only do we ensure that no plastic goes to waste and that we can use the plastic waste that's just a measly a bit or like very few in this society, but we also ensure that we can create the circular economy that Kerry was talking about. In that, we are allowing you to relive your childhood once more. Imagine this. By you conjoining our plastic bricks together, you make a wall. But then you decide, what? People here don't really like my business. Let me take my business to Kisii. Deconstruct it down, pack it up, take it to Kisii, build it up again. You see, ladies and gentlemen, by us doing this, we are creating a circular economic system so that once you build, or let's say once you decide to start our venture into the business with us, it does not mean that that is just the end, that you're going to buy from us and the next time you need to build it, you're going to have to purchase from us again. No, what this means is that this plastic will not find its way back to the garbage bins because you are going to always have a use for it. If not a wall, you can make it into a pavement. Why? Because you can deconstruct it and build it into something else. Then at the same time, we have nanotechnology. Ladies and gentlemen, I know the biggest query that's been on your mind is, can't plastic melt? But ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, through the use of nanotechnology and nanoclay, we are able to increase the heat tolerance of this plastic. What do I mean? By us incorporating nanoclay into the melting process of this plastic garbage, we are able to increase its melting point to upwards of 120 degrees Celsius. What does this mean? This means that you will be guaranteed that no day will you come back home and realize that my house has melted down, that my house is no longer here. It's assured. Then also at the same time, we have automated manufacturing. This means that when you place an order, we will deliver. You'll not be told that you have to wait for 2 months for your automated delivery. No, you'll not be told that you have to wait another year in order for you to get your products. Rather, we will be always ready to meet the demand surplus. But then now the question is, why? Is there really a market for this? Is there really a market for our products? First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, let me say that in Kenya alone, we see that over 200,000 housing units are needed. 200,000. But only 50,000 are provided. What does this mean? 150,000 housing units are not provided. What does this mean? 150,000 people like you and I either do not have a home or their homes are not worth up to the living standards. Imagine that. Somebody just like you is living in a shanty, a house which is not even worth going back home to. Imagine that. But here at Plabric, we are looking forward to mitigating this problem by far. Then also our key and major raw material, which is plastic waste. In Kenya, we see that only 8% of plastic waste is actually recycled. What does this mean? This means that 92% of this plastic is mismanaged. 92% of this plastic finds its way into these dump sites. 92% of this plastic waste in Kenya finds its way into our ecosystem. And is this actually good? No, it is not. But here at Plabric, we are going to redefine and reconstruct the whole ideology of recycling and give these plastics a new purpose.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, us as Plabric require key partners in order for us to be successful. Who are our key partners? First of all, we have garbage collectors who will provide us with the plastic that we require. Second of all, we have the local community, us as a local community. Picture yourself picking up a piece of bottle, knowing that this will either roof someone's house, pave a road, make a plastic panel, or anything. Then we have construction companies such as ECPO. And finally, national entities such as NEMA.
In a market where innovative solutions decide on what a consumer should purchase, the main question comes, what about our competitors? Well, we have a few competitors, which is Dijenge and EcoBricks and traditional materials. We differentiate from these using innovative solutions. From Dijenge, a similar company that makes plastic bricks for pavements, we realized there was a few flaws. One thing, they had one product oriented, meaning that they were only able to make bricks for pavements. What we did was we got access to all these other traditional materials, such as the building panels, custom mortars, and bricks that can be used for not only pavement construction, but even building construction, giving you, the consumer, a greater access to our durable products. We also realized that we had a circular economy model. What that means is basically that when you have a Plabric device, as has been explained, it can be used for a variety of purposes. It's versatile. Like a Lego brick, you can disconstruct it from a wall to a pavement, from a pavement to a road. It can become anything that you'd want using 3D printing and technology. Finally, We also so one problem with them is that the fire resistance, right? One of the main key issues that we'll have with consumers is convincing them that this thing will not burn. But by the use of nanotechnology, we are able to increase this fire resistance, making sure that your product is durable and sustainable. Finally, traditional materials. Why would you move away from things like clay, stone, and cement and join us? Well, one thing surprisingly is that our bricks are more durable than concrete blocks. Yes, they are 2 times more durable than concrete blocks. Because of the compression and the technology we use, they are more durable than concrete blocks. Upon impact, they are likely only to deform and not crack like the bricks we have today. And finally, we are more environmentally sustainable than the traditional materials we have today, which makes us, again, even cheaper. The cost of production is cheaper because now we do not have to pay for people to go, and we do not have to pay for these mining sites. What we do is we access a material that is seen as waste by our virgin materials being discarded plastic waste, cutting down on the cost of us having to get the virgin materials.
But ladies and gentlemen, how exactly are we going to be competition? How exactly are we going to ensure complete market domination? First and foremost, we have branding, proper branding, through partnership with key partners, and also by ensuring that we are on social platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. We are able to reach our target audience, who are people who feel as if there's a need for change and a need for eco-friendly building materials. Then secondly, we have proper advertisements. We are going to introduce something known as guerrilla marketing. What does this mean? We are going to use marketing strategies that are rather odd, but will catch your eyes and you'll be like, you know what? I remember there was this product called Plabric. Why? Because it was eye-catching. Then also at the same time, we have key partnerships. Through key partnerships, we're going to ensure that we are able to scale up our business and to grow. Then also through incentivizing pollution and incentivizing the whole essence of recycling, we are going to build up a culture where people understand that by them taking part or being partners with Plabric, they are playing a key role in helping our environment to get better and helping our planet stay. Then also we have high quality assurance. By us offering the best quality products, we are going to ensure that we are going to have returning customers and that our word is going to spread across. Then also, first and foremost, we have surveys. Our last one, surveys. Because we understand that it is impossible for anything to be perfect. So we understand that there's always room for improvement. So by us taking surveys, we're going to ensure that we are always at a constant trajectory for growth. And we are never just pivoting at a plateau.
And this begs the question. I know most of you probably been wondering, what are the prices of these products that we're offering? Let me take you here to our revenue projections. Here we have our building panels at 20 Kenya shillings per unit. Then we move on to our roofing tiles at 40 Kenya shillings per unit. Then we have our building bricks. We have them at 25 Kenya shillings per unit. And let's take here, for example, our building panels. We have here each unit being sold at 20 Kenya shillings. And our projected sale annually is 500,000 panels, which will earn us a total yearly revenue of 10 million Kenya shillings.
And people, the proof is in the pudding. Let's imagine a scenario where you had 2 options: Plabric or traditional materials. Why would you choose Plabric? Well, over here we have a chart that clearly shows you why Plabric is cheaper. 1, walls. The most commonly used product to build houses or structures for those who are in the low income bracket is mabati. So if you were to build a mabati structure, the walls would cost about 16,000 shillings. But on our site, we cut that cost by half at 8,000 Kenya shillings. Roofing would cost 5,000 shillings, but with Plabric, roofing would only cost 2,000 shillings. And finally, the total with Mabati products will cost you 21,000 Kenya shillings, while with Plabric, it would cost you a significant reduction of 10,000 Kenya shillings, while not only being cheaper, being more durable and eco-friendly, leading to a better tomorrow.
And Sharks, I'm here to assure you that this money that you provide us with will not be put to waste. We have set aside here and have divided the money, which we're going to use 9.3 million Kenya shillings for our technology enhancement, the nano clay, you've heard of it, and also the land to acquire our premises for us to set up this company of ours, and also for the machinery. Then we'll set aside 5.7 million to teaching all the people who are going to work in our company, and also for advertisement purposes, and also, lastly, for delivery purposes.
I know you're wondering who came up with this idea. And so we have Eddy Francis as the Chief Executive Officer, Seth Chege as the Chief Operation Officer, Kerry Amani as the Chief Marketing Officer, Jude Momo as the Chief Operation Officer, and I as the Technophile.
Next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, we are called to assist the earth to heal her wounds, and in the process, we heal our own. These are the wise words of Wangari Maathai. And that is why us at Plabric, we strongly believe in from waste to worth. Thank you.
Right, so feedback from the judges.
Thank you. Plabric, well done. Very good presentation. I see you've done your homework. It looks like a very, very good solution. You've captured the problem statement extremely well. The business model and the competitive analysis is also done. And you clearly have an organization structure in place. So you guys look quite organized. Well done. Question from me on, you talked about being focused on Kenya and Africa. What's your distribution model? I think that needs to come out in terms of how do you plan on getting into, what's your market entry strategy for those different countries? And even within Kenya, you talked about partners, but you didn't really speak to distribution in terms of how the product comes from you to the customer. So I think that's an area possibly you could go deeper. If you want to answer now, it's fine.
So if you could remember, at our key partners, we had building or construction companies. So what we understand as a business that's branching out, it's normally hard for you to reach the target market because first and foremost, you don't have the clientele, you don't have the necessary people to work with, and like just the resources at whole. But by us partnering up with them, this means we can push for our products, whereby they're building, let's say, this project, and where they're starting these eco-friendly neighborhoods, they will consider us and will be at the forefront championing for this change.
So possibly just to add to that, you could think about people like hardwares, the guys where people go and buy the roofing sheets and all those kinds of things. So that's possibly something you could look at. Then on your analysis, Dandora has been there for many years. There's a reason why it's at 8%. So possibly a bit more research on possibly the political and regulatory issues around that influence or reduce or make that not grow. That's an area possibly you need to think through and see how do you overcome that. Yeah, but well done. Good job.
Well done. I'm quite curious about a few things, especially where this came from. Well done. It was quite compelling. I think you did a great job in the presentation and great teamwork, and it was quite compelling. I do have one point of feedback with the presentation. You spent a lot of time on the problem. I think plastics is really well known, and the impact it has on our environment is really well known. And as you make a presentation, especially on a solution that you believe in strongly, it's great to spend. The way you can segment your time, you spend time on, now this is it. If you think about the entire chunk of time, I got it in a few minutes and then I was like, okay, so what next? Tell me. So it was just a point of feedback I felt. Then on the business model, and then this would guide me into my next question in terms of your valuation. You spent a lot of time in, what I lacked to see is, as a business, are you making money? You talked about the revenue. You didn't tell me how much it costs you to produce this. You didn't tell me how much you're actually earning from this, because from that is what would guide me to understand whether your valuation makes sense. Because you could be at a different stage as a company where you're still innovating, you're still trying to discover yourself. And that's a different way that I would look at your business than if you're actually making money, and if from this product. And you making money is not just the top line, the revenue. It is how much it is costing you to maintain your staff, how much it's costing you to produce this, and whether the capital injection you're asking for is actually making sense. So those are the questions I was left with when you brought in an equity proposal. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of the cost, for example, like these products, it cost us about 100 shillings to make. We did this through, we went to different places. We went to plastic processing industry that was able to help us with the compression and all that. But we believe that with funding from your side, we'd be able to get our own equipment, which would, of course, through economies of scale, be able to help us reduce that cost of production significantly, making sure that it can still come at a profit and make sure that it still be affordable for the average consumer.
And how much are you selling it? Remind me.
Or we were selling for 25 shillings a brick.
25.
Yes.
And one brick is costing how much?
One brick, when we made it, it cost about 50 shillings. Yeah. But that is because we only had a few prototypes. But if you scale it up, it would cost significantly cheaper.
So just to get onto that, because it's a good point. So what do you project if you had the machinery and so forth? How many plastic bottles, for example, does it take to make one brick? And then how much would it cost to make it if you had all the machinery you needed? And then how much would you sell it for? And what would be the profit margin?
Okay, so for the materials that we make, we don't only use plastic bottles, but in total it would use about 1 kg of plastic in total to make one brick. As you said, we would project use about 20 tons of plastic in a month, so it would use about 1 kg of plastic per brick. And for the pricing, I'd like to give Eddy to answer that question.
So what we estimate to be our pricing or how much it's going to cost us after you guys inject the money and you're able to get the necessary equipment, we estimate that Plabric is going to cost us roughly at 17 shillings, because we look at building an ecosystem where we're using solar power so as to power the machines and the machinery used. So this means there's a reduction in the cost for electricity. Then since our raw material is regarded as a waste, this means that we don't necessarily have to pay anything in order to get it, or if we have to pay, it's at a very minimal cost because it's being regarded as waste, so it's quite cheap. So hence the total production cost will come to roughly about 17 shillings. Then by us selling it at 25 shillings per brick, we're able to make the necessary amount of quarter, or like the necessary amount of ratio for money, so that we can also scale up as a business. But at the same time, since we're targeting the low income or the middle bracket, we're targeting the middle class and the lower class people, we need to make this product cheap to them. So that's why we decided for a very minimal pricing or costing, something that's actually way cheaper than traditional bricks, which traditional bricks, we say they go for about 40 shillings per brick, whereby ours goes for 25 shillings. So it's a more sustainable and a much more cheaper option. And it's much more tougher than concrete. So this means it's going to last you longer as compared to what a concrete wall would last you for 50 years, when ours will last you for roughly about 75 years.
I have to commend you guys. I think your pitch was really strong. And I love that you took the time to get this done. Having a live example, and I don't know if you can tell, but this is very heavy. It's very concrete. It's very heavy. It's like solid, yeah? So I think well done on all of the research and the energy that you've taken to put this together. And also, I think what I sense from you guys is that you actually really believe in the product. And I think it is a very believable product. And I think it's an incredibly impactful one. I'll say a few things maybe from the marketing side, because I think the fellow judges have hit a lot about the business model of it. And it's good that you were able to come forward with the margins of profit so clearly. So tell me the name of, again, read that out to me again.
Plabric.
Plabric?
Yes.
Plabric.
Yes.
When you read that, do you read Plabric or Plabric? Plabric or Plabric? We all read it as Plabric. Who reads it as Plabric? Put your hand up. Why do all the girls have their hands up? No, I'm kidding. Listen, I think you can do the naming a different way. I love the tagline from waste to worth. I think that's really good. So for me, from a marketing perspective, I think I saw 10 different fonts of 10 different renditions of Plabric. When you have a logo, even for us watching it for the very first time, make sure in your pitch document all the font, the size, the color, it's all uniform. Because what you're doing is you're imprinting your brand on us at this very moment. You get what I mean? I think this should be your logo. And I think you should have the name of whatever the company name is on each brick. Yeah. I don't think you need a social media Instagram page. Remember, think about what you're marketing and who you're marketing it for. For me, I think this is a B2B product. It's a business to business product. Do you get what I mean? You're not promoting it to the everyday individual, although it is really good from a social impact side. Maybe when you guys become billionaires, you'll open up a foundation. But I think what you're doing is you need to focus on B2B marketing, right? So that you're marketing this to the property developer, the the housing developers, the government, and you give them a product that is marketable through that side. So you use things like LinkedIn. You use a really great website. I don't think you need an Instagram at this point. Do you get what I mean? Don't like the logo, don't like the name, like the tagline. And I think I'll stop there. Did you want to say something?
Okay, on the point for Instagram, the reason why us as a company felt as if it's necessary for us to have an Instagram page is because we realized something. When you look at psychology, you look at like, what's it called? Most people like to feel as if they are part of a movement or like they're making an impact in the world. So if they're able to understand and know that by them buying our products and investing into Plabric, that they are actively combating pollution, this means that they will not only just have a house, but even let's say in their social gatherings, they'll be like, you know what, guys, I'm fighting pollution. I'm basically a hero. That's what will be coming across their minds. And that's what we are trying to propagate to them. And we feel like the only way we can also get this information across and also change their mindset is also if we can also just deal with them as the consumer level, as the buyer or whoever is buying from us.
But I'm still not convinced that Instagram's the way to go. I think you can have company champions. I think you can do corporate engagements. I think your foundation arm of it would be it. I don't think your company arm is. There's too many social media pages of companies that don't know how to do social media. Don't be one of those. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I agree. My point is just two things on the innovative part of the nano clay. Just perhaps explain that, because this seems to be like the magic on the innovation. This is where the real intellectual property of the design work is based on that, and maybe part of your top secret on why you need to do that. So perhaps you explain that. I don't know whether you want to explain that exactly, how the mechanism, is it a mixture of the clay and ratios of the sand, the temperatures of all this, just for clarity purposes, and then.
Okay, so for nano clay, basically it might sound like it's clay, but it's not really clay. It's a synthetic material that is made from silica and other forms of chemicals. And what basically happens is it's ground into a very fine powder. And it's even used in some forms of agriculture and in some form of paints. It's used in paints to increase the fire resistance. So basically what it is a synthetic material that we put in every one of our bricks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense. And I think one other thing that you need to look at is two areas. One of the biggest problem about the idea of recycling of this plastic is the sourcing, because of the collection points. The wide distribution of the wasting is making it very impossible for it to be collected to make it viable for this to work. And you can see that there's even a much bigger impact where there's a case of labor abuse, where we have to use our street children to be the one collecting this. Maybe we may want to look at that angle very clearly. How do you effectively source this in more sustainable ways, respecting the labor and the rights of the people who are collecting in a way that actually has meaningful impact to the people in the value chain? That's extremely important. And the last one, which is rather technical, you may want to get into the mechanism of the engineering of these building blocks, because of the energy requirements, the coupling that is required, the mixing and the ratios that are required. So maybe as you're growing as a company, one of you or two of you guys may want to venture into the engineering side of things. That makes a lot of sense for you to control what you need to produce. Otherwise, I'm very impressed with the effort. Thank you.
Once again, snaps to Plabric. Okay, so we let the judges decide. How much are you investing in Plabric? Are you ready? Drum rolls. All right, let's hear from Judge Emmanuel. 15 million. Judge Amina. 50 million. Judge Samuel.
I gave 14.5 for 50 to 60, but I'd be willing to fund R&D without any additional equity.
So I'll give 15 for 30%.
15 million. Thank you very much. Snaps to Plabric once again as they take their seat.